cold here in North Carolina, and we had snow and ice, and now we're talking about another use for the tree hearts of the longleaf pine, and another sale for the tree hearts of the longleaf pine. And one of the first things that they used the hearts of the longleaf pine for was to start their fires, because they didn't have central heat and air conditioning. All they had were little chimneys and little fireplaces, and to stay warm on a day like today, you had to heat your home with wood, and to start the fires you needed something flammable that was almost like turpentine or gasoline. And guess what? Longleaf pine is used to make turpentine, and so therefore that resin inside that heartwood was perfect to create a fire. Okay, one day there may come a time again when we don't have central heat and air conditioning. Things could drop to where you can't afford to buy electricity. Hopefully not, but that could happen one day. And so if you watch this carefully, go out in the woods, you find tree hearts that come out of longleaf pine trees, buried in the woods, laying all up under the leaves. This is what they used here in the early days to start their fires. And to know how to start a fire, if you don't have something like this, is very difficult to do it with paper or anything else, because it doesn't have the solid insides that this does. Now what we're going to do is we're going to break it open. Okay, you see that red tree heart in there? That red tree heart contains oleo resin, which we talked about in the beginning, that is in the heart of the pine tree. It's any pine tree, so even if you don't have longleaf in your area, you have loblolly, it's still got some of this on the inside. You find these pieces of tree hearts laying in the woods where the outside of it, as we discussed before, rotted away and left this solid heart, because this has the resin in it, which causes it not to rot away. So you want to split it down into small pieces, and you can see how it splits pretty and flat and thin, and the thinner you can get it, the better for starting a fire in your chimney or out in the woods or wherever you're at to stay warm. And this is just an inverted axe, and so you can take an axe and split it the same way we did in the first feature. You see how red that is? That's that oleo resin inside of it that's keeping it from rotting away, but it also makes it very flammable, as I'll show you in just a minute in the stove. See how easy it splits, because it's hard as a brick. Okay? Now if you have a fireplace in your home, an older home, or if you have a wood stove or an old, country wood stove like we've got here in the Cooper shop, the way you would start a fire to get it going before you put bigger wood on it is take some smaller wood and stack it so that you're making a place for other wood to lay across it, so that basically you can put you some of this light wood underneath it, some smaller pieces in there like this, and stack this small stuff you split up right in here where you can get to it. Then you're going to take, and I know most time you're going to have a lighter of some kind. We're going to use an old match today, which that's probably unusual to most folks is can't remember a match. And if you see that light wood, as we heat that lighter, that oil will start dripping. And you see how it's catching up like a torch? That's why in the olden days, everybody looked for it in the woods and saved it and held on to it, because you see how easy we lit that piece? It's got that resin running in it, and that's catching on fire. The same thing we made the turpentine out of, okay? But this old dead heart is full of it. You see that? And then you're going to put it in here amongst your other light wood where it can catch. Try. And you see how much flame is going through that one little piece of lighter and catching your other pieces of lighter on fire. And that's why they used it to start their fires, because it was a quick fix. It would get it going quickly, and it was available all over the ground. And so even all over the country, anywhere they had pine trees, they would find these tree hearts and split them up. If they were not using it to make tar and pitch, big logs, they would take this smaller stuff and split it up all summer long. So in the wintertime, each and every day you had to start a fire, and that would get your fires going quickly. As you can see, you just watch that for just a minute. Now that was from that single little small piece lit in there. It's catching the other pieces up. Then you're going to start laying something across it. And it billows a black smoke, so if your chimney's not real good, you have to be careful, because you put too much in there and you'll fill your room up with that black tar scent, smell, and smoke. But you can see it's going now. And those other pieces of light wood, fat lighter tree heart, are catching a fire, and they're burning, and it's heating up that resin inside of the wood and causing it to run like a liquid, like we burn out tar when we cook it in a mound. And that is creating a hot fire that will start your other wood. So no matter what kind of wood, then you're going to start adding other types of dried wood on top of it, which will eventually start your fire. Fat lighter.